and we are recording. Hey guys, Darren here. I'm public speaking coach for our gaming executives, and today is the very first video where I am going to show you a real life communication training. So this one is unedited, raw, and real. And what I'm going to do is just really answer this question that I get asked from clients, which is, well, how do I make my idea stand out? And I don't know if you've ever felt this way, but have you ever just tried delivering a message, something you thought was really cool and exciting, but only to realize that your idea doesn't really feel new and exciting to everyone else? If anything, this little back of the mind voice starts chirping, saying, "Oh, is this actually interesting?" Because no one's reacting. I thought that was going to be my mic drop moment of the conversation, but no one really seemed to care. And if you've ever felt this way, I want to let you know that it's not about your idea, it's actually about what you're comparing your idea to. So let's put this question out here. How do I make my idea more interesting? And that is the big question. That is the big question. Because the problem here is that if no one cares and no one really seems interested, then what happens is you're not going to get people to buy in. And if you don't get people to buy in, they're not going to take action. If they don't take action, then nothing actually changes. So the idea here, once again, is the solution is that it's not about your idea, it's about what your idea is comparing to. What is your idea comparing itself to? So my favorite way to make an idea stand out, whether it is boring data or something you just said again and again, that's commonplace, almost a cliche at this point, is to challenge or to compare it to the existing belief. So what is the status quo? The old belief then meets a new idea, and that becomes different. That feels different. It is essentially, if you were to say it in a different way, if we separate this, it is the status quo plus and with a new twist. Oop. It's status quo with a twist. What does that look like? Because you can hear this, you can feel this, you can say, okay, I get it, that makes sense. You have what we currently know, like, and trust, plus a new twist or new specific angle. Well, what could that mean? What does that look like? So I have a couple of examples that I just pulled from ChatGPT, like hard work leads to success, the belief that effort and persistence naturally produces achievement or reward. Okay, so if that's the old belief, if that's the status quo, what does that look like? Let's do status quo here, which is hard work leads to success. Now, if this is what people already believe, that if I put my head down and I continue to grind it out, put in my time, eventually I will succeed. A new twist, something that I would actually add on to this, which might be from my own personal experience or my perspective, from things that I've learned over the past that has helped me to achieve a success in my life, might be hard work leads to success plus or only if you're working on the right things. And now this feels different. Now this is a completely different statement. It's a completely different idea. Yes, hard work leads to success, but only if you're working on the right things, which implies that you could spend all this time putting energy and effort and putting 9 to 5 and 5 to 9 into something, but working on the wrong things and still not achieve success. Let's try another one. So that was example one for how you can take an old belief and create a new idea by adding a twist to the status quo. Let's see what another one might be. So let me pull this up again and say, people are mostly good. The idea that human beings, when given the chance, act with kindness and positive intent. Okay, not bad, not bad. Let's see what this could look like if we say here. Number 2, humans are mostly good. Now, what kind of twist could we add to this? Now, if you're looking at this and you're trying to think along with me, pause the video, take 60 seconds and try and write in the comments what you think a twist could be like. Humans are mostly good. Let's take a negative view. Humans are mostly good when they won't get caught. Or if they won't get caught. Or if it doesn't affect them. Actually, you know what? I love that one better. Let's do this. Okay, humans are mostly good when it's convenient for them. Now, I'm not saying this is my belief. I'm just saying here's how we can take a status quo idea, a common belief that people might have. Humans are mostly good, and change it, mold it into something else that would be a message that we could own, which is that humans are mostly good when it's convenient for them. That the right circumstances and situations have to be set up such that doing something for someone else isn't going to negatively affect them. And that becomes a completely different message. But you can see how this A and then B framework allows you to create something that could truly stand out. Because if you say this, I promise you, if you say this on a panel, on a podcast, on a presentation, this is going to perk people's ears up. This is going to help you stand out and take something that you might still believe, but allow you to get more specific and more honed in onto a specific part of it that allows you to create something different. Let's see a third one, just to give you a round number of examples. Everything happens for a reason. Oh, okay, this one, I'm not going to show you, I'm just going to say it out loud. Everything happens for a reason. How many times have we heard this? Happens for a reason. So my favorite one, actually, everything happens for a reason. And what I would do as a twist is say this. Everything happens for a reason. We just don't get to know what that reason is. Well, we just don't get to know what that reason is. There you go. Everything happens for a reason. We just don't get to know what that reason is. Now that's a powerful statement. That's taking something that we all believe, circumstance can happen, or we try to believe in some greater good that the universe is looking out for us, or that there's a purpose behind everything. But we may never, or we definitely never get to know the reason what it is. So it really emphasizes the idea of trust and faith. So when you ask that question, again, how do we get our ideas to be more interesting, to stand out, such that we don't face that situation where no one cares, it falls flat on the floor, and kind of a mic drop moment becomes something we wish we could take back. We take the old belief, we apply a new idea, and we give a twist to the status quo. And here's the thing. Here is the thing. I want to tell you. To stand out is to compare it to something else. In this case, we're taking the old belief, we're taking the new belief. But what I love is a quote from Christo, which is that in order to stand out, you only need to stand out by 1/8 of an inch. In order to be different, you only need to stand out by 1/8 of an inch. And when we think about that, we realize it's not as hard as we think it is. That we don't have to be amazing, creative people, new and novel. It could be just as easy to take a small 1-degree shift, a 1% different perspective on an old idea and make it our own. So let's just reframe. An old idea with a new twist is a different idea, and that can be your idea. What you can do right now to really make this your own as action steps is to do let's say an action plan is to write out the status quo within your industry. So if you are an expert in your role, you likely know what's going right, what's going wrong, or how things work. What some of the reasons why things don't get done all that quickly. Take the status quo, and then from there, try adding on a small twist. So add a twist to each of those items that you wrote down. And for this last thing I'd like you to do is to make sure you then look at that list and say, which one of these do I actually believe? So actually believe. Because when you can say something new and novel, just slightly different, standing up by 1/8 of an inch, but you truly believe it, the conviction within your voice will allow that to stand out even more. And that is my favorite way, truly, to figure out what can I say that I believe, that I know, that is useful, that is relevant, and that I believe, and I can speak with conviction on a podcast, panel, and presentation. And with that, I'm going to say thanks for watching. Take care.